And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Derek and Craig. Yeah, got some crazy weather going on, Craig. I don't know, down here we're just had rain all night. Now they're talking, I don't know, it's going to be in the 50s today. But I just went outside earlier. I go out and have my coffee, and before the show and everything. Man, it is windy and cold down here, and for us, anyways. But I was watching the news, just kind of flipping through last night. Man, a tornadoes hitting everywhere before this, and all kinds of craziness going on here in the States. But the snowstorms up where you're at, or it's coming up your way anyway. Yeah, it's just kind of a crazy week before Christmas. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we got 29 right now, and we had I guess like the last 3 days we've had rain, off and on, and just dreary weather. It's we
yeah,
had snow and ice a couple days ago, but no accumulation really. I mean, it was like dusting on the ground, but
yeah, it just shut me down yesterday. I was going to go out detecting, and the front came pushed down through, and rain, and just nasty weather. It's like fishing in the rain. You don't want to metal detect in the rain unless you have to. But I mean, you do it when you have to. But it's nice to have detectors that are waterproof. You know what I mean? You don't have to. We used to worry about
yeah,
it all
no.
the time, getting wet. Some of these other detectors, getting wet or whatever, and you had to.
Now we
I
take a bath. Now we take a bath with them.
Yeah, no kidding. We could put them in the shower and.
I actually got they get home. There's this one guy, I think it's Square Nail Squirrel, that does some videos, and
Hmm.
I guess he's sucked in with the winter right now, but he's in Ohio, I think.
Oh yeah,
But
it snowed in.
he, he's hunting these muddy farm fields, and his machine is just like smeared with mud, and he comes home and he just, goes out in the yard, sticks the machine on the ground, hoses it off.
Yep,
Oh,
that's the way to do it. Yeah, well, I remember,
one guy,
like over in the UK,
one guy,
they. Oh, good. Sorry.
well, one guy claimed that he did that and it got water inside the screen somehow, and I was like, "What? It's supposed to be waterproof."
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to tell. We ran into that a little bit with like the. Oh gosh, this has been years ago now, but like the beach machines and stuff like that. And I think every one of them, they have these gaskets, like the Beach
Yeah,
Hunter ID. I think it was. They had to change from a black gasket to a I think it was orange or red or something like that on the Beach Hunter ID. Where it seals it. And just like anything else, it depends on the materials it's made out of. These gaskets can get dry rotted or when you're dealing with salt, it's really important if you guys are out there on the beaches, saltwater beaches. I mean, you got to make sure not only your metal detector is cleaned off, washed off, but like your shovels and stuff, and your or whatever you're using, sand scoops. A lot of them, they're using aluminum or stainless. Stainless steel's the best, but even that salt, man, it'll eat up stuff. Even your boots and shoes, and I make sure everything's cleaned off, because you'll come out there the next day, like the bliss tool is all black, and you can see the salt, when the water evaporates, salt all over it and stuff like that. It's real important to clean anything you're using on the beaches, even really fresh water. But I mean, salt water is especially corrosive. It just eats up stuff. But going out there in the surf, I've heard, like with the Excalibur, well, it's any machine really. Just it's not. If you don't clean it up, that salt can eventually eat up gaskets or cause them to crack a little bit. It just takes uh, a little bit of a.
well, we did when
Yeah.
I had the Tesoro Stingray years ago, and you could take the box, open the box, and it had this gasket around it. And then
Mhm.
you would put like a little bead of silicone around it,
Right.
and that's what they recommended on that. I never had a problem. I used it, for 4 years in the water, and we didn't dive down. We just, basically about, we were, hunting up, chest high, waist high, basically.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well, what I was going to say too,
silicone
that
seemed to keep the seal, kept a good seal on it, but
right.
that is a problem. I mean, anytime you got like a openings in a machine or something.
Oh, it does.
the
It
water
just has to
can
be a
try to-
little bitty hole can. Well, it's like coil covers. The coil covers are good. They protect the bottom of your coil, but you're on doing a beach or you're even doing water. Well, you have a coil cover. They don't seal 100%. Well, you go out there in the salt water, then you need to take your machine home. You need to pull the coil cover off. You not only have sand down in there, real fine sand and stuff, but that salt and that eats up a lot of different plastics and stuff like that over time. You don't want to have that crud down in between the coil cover and the coil. It does affect your meltator. It does cause damage. Eventually the longer it sits on there. It's just like I see a lot of guys up north, like even in Culpeper or whatever, that use machines with coil covers. You got to take them off every once in a while and clean them out because that mineralized soil or any kind, gets down in there, Craig, that real powdery stuff that can get down in between there. And, people say, man, my coil's being sensitive. It's, falsing or whatever else. Pull the coil cover off. You'll probably find some dirt in there or whatever, and you got to clean it out.
A lot of times you get a bunch of black sand in there because that black sand seems to be like real super fine.
Yeah. Well, we even have that on the beach too, Craig. Even on the east coast, Florida, you'll see it if you watch, like when the tide's going out, you can see like brown or black sand. It's very noticeable. But we even have it down this way, and if you're on the beach, even by where the water is, it's that fine stuff that gets down in that coil, between the coil cover and the coil, and it'll make your detector act stupid sometimes. It was really, I had it happen with my White's machine. I think it was the Spectra V3, and I had coil covers and all that stuff. And you almost needed them because they a lot of them in the past have put like we call it beautification ring or something like that, is what a friend of mine would call it. It's the polymer they would use was a softer plastic, and it would get scratched up. And Craig, you've worn out coils, I have too, and then you had to almost have a coil cover on them. And then they started making these machines now where it's over the past 10 years really starting to make some good coils that were a lot more durable to scratching and stuff like that, because we're grinding this stuff on the ground, we're rubbing it all the time, especially down here in Florida with all this sand, and of course canned slaw and rocks, and we're just really hard on machines. Well, everybody is really around the world, really, depending on what they're hunting at.
That's just the nature of metal detecting.
Yeah.
And you're basically sanding the coil down as you're doing it.
You're grinding on sandpaper. And you got to. I mean, you got to get that coil as low as you can. I mean, if you try to be methodical, keep it level, keep it as low to the ground as you can, and you're going to scrub the ground. Scrub the dirt. And you're just trying to get as much out of your detector as you can, depth wise. So it's a necessary evil. It just we're real hard on machines here in the U.S. I mean, or equipment in general. I mean, we torture, shovels and pinpointers and. So, Craig and I always said, they have certain brands out there are very durable. Fortunately, pinpointers have come a long way. I mean, for the last 7 or 8 years, the Garrett Carrot and the Quest, Pro Pointer and the Nokta Point, they're made out of a durable plastic or polymer. And heck, we torch. I know I torture my pinpointer. I'm prying on stuff and grinding it into the side of dirt and everything else in the hole and dropping it, and and it's acted very well. It's very durable pinpointer. But I remember, and I'm just throwing a brand out. It was a White's brand pinpointer back in '09, I think it was. The way it was put together, it was different than they do it now. They do a lot of 3M printing, Craig, and I think they're 3M printing a lot of these cases and stuff like that. But the Whites actually had Phillips head screws, and the bottom part was about the size of a cell phone, and it had the probe that came out, and that all fit around each other, so it wasn't like airtight or watertight at all. And it just, you just wore. I mean, I had to take mine apart. I'd have dirt in it. The button got wore out. I replaced the button. I mean, I was actually going to send that up there for Mike, if you remember right. When you said you needed a pinpointer, and I'm like, I'm not sending this to him, man. I've had this thing for 7 years. I've beat the crap out of it. It was everything I can do to get it to turn on. I'm not going to give my headache, a headache. I even lost the end of where they had the battery goes in and it had that slide, clip slide thing, to hold the battery. And it was good technology at the time. I could pick up a dime at like 2 or 3 inches away. It was, good enough to use as a pinpointer. And I think I got it free with the metal detector, so I got good use out of it. But it just wasn't, I had black tape on it to hold the battery in and everything else. But you just beat it to death. But, I figure I got good 5-6 years out of that thing anyways before I went out and bought this Quest Pro pointer, or what they call it, the Technics at the time. And I like the thing, and I know that a lot of the guys had the Garrett, Carrot, and forgive me if I can't remember all the names. There's so many pinpointers out there, Vibra Pro and everything else. The Vibra Pros are real nice, but they're also expensive. And they all turn on a different way. I mean, some of the guys were talking about they had these new people were wanting to get pinpointers and stuff like that. They're not a necessity. You can run your hand over the coil and stuff. Grab a handful of dirt, old school way. What I found them really good is not scratching items, especially if you're newer or haven't dug in that type of situation, even on a beach. I mean, I used to just kick the dirt around, take a scoop out, throw it on the ground, kick the sand. But you'd be surprised how hard it is to find, a doggone penny in wet sand. I mean, it just kind of sticks to it, and if they're corroded, it just makes it such an easy retrieval. And plus, you can see what else is in the hole. You can run that pinpointer around and find stuff. So
usually, the deeper the item is, the harder it is to pinpoint. With the coil,
right?
And so you can dig right past it sometimes. Just quarter of an inch past it.
Yep.
I've done that.
It could be a sidewall. It could be the way that signal bounces around.
You could just run your pinpointer around, and all of a sudden you get a signal and you know where it is. But there's a couple of schools of thought on how to recover, even with the pinpointer. And some people say not to try to dig it out of the hole, to try to take all the dirt out of the hole and then recover the target with the pinpointer outside the hole.
Right.
I tend to do it inside. I tend to do it inside the hole.
I just can't get down on the ground like that anymore. My knees are so I try to pop. Well, you see my videos. I pop a plug, throw it out. Get another scoop, throw it out. Scan the dirt, with the detector, and then if I get some kind of a signal, I'll put the pinpointer down there. The only time it really comes in handy is if you got multiple targets down there, like you deal with, Craig, and that way, you can the way that a detector pinpoints, depth or wherever the item is, it can bounce around so much. It could be in the bottom of the hole against a sidewall. It could be, you could dig past it. You might have, multiple targets in there too that, you're trying to get out of there. So that pinpointer really does help. And now I don't know if they could really, I don't know. Do you think there's any improvements on a pinpointer that we could possibly get? I mean, I know there's a difference between the pulse induction ones and the VLF ones. I've never seen a need for VLF one, but
the one I kind of like, but it's having problems, I guess. And it's the one with the ferrous, non-ferrous signals.
Right, the VLF ones, yeah.
Yeah, and it's you can stick it in the hole, and if you got a bunch of nails in there, you can actually pick out the non-ferrous target. But when I saw, I don't know if it's been perfected or not, but when I saw the first couple of tests, it just wasn't working exactly right. But it's also probably around $250 for a pinpointer.
Oh yeah, and I don't mind. I've said it before. I said, man, I wish I kind of had a VLF pinpointer. Sometimes when I'm trying to retrieve, when I have so many nails and stuff, like we were up in Ohio with Bill and all them, and we were looking for those musket balls, those little, or pistol bullets or whatever, and we dig out like 10 square nails and this and that, and we just had a hell of a time locating the little pistol bullet. Was what it ended up being, but I think my hole, we had like 5 full-size square nails and like 8 pieces, and the signal's still there. You're running a pulse induction pinpointer, which doesn't have any discrimination. That's where a VLF pinpointer might have come in more handy.
Well, But
to
that's old
retrieve.
school. When you go back to old school,
Yeah,
grab
that's
it,
what we can do. Grab a handful of dirt and go
grab a
over.
handful of dirt.
It just, it gets
It's
hard. Oh, go ahead.
it's funny. It's funny because over the years, I've been hunting for over 33 years, and for a long time, I never saw anybody metal detecting using a pinpointer, hardly ever. Relic hunters just
Right.
didn't use them, and I decided about 4.5 years ago, I spent almost 6 months, figuring out which one I wanted. And I talked to a lot of people, and there was one guy that we know that he had every single pinpointer on the market at the time. And we were talking, and I mentioned one pinpointer, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I got one. Would you like to, buy it?" I go, "It's that bad?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Well, like you can even get one at the Harbor Freight has pinpointers. I mean, they're not. Believe me, they'll get you by, but I mean, it's not something you're going to want to use every day. But it is it can get a dime at like a half an inch or so away. It just helps you retrieve some of this really small stuff. Instead of having to, like I said, get squat down or something like that and grab hands full of dirt. I mean, if you have, knees like mine, I mean, it's a pain just to get up out of the chair. I got, I don't know, I got to go to the doctor or something, get it checked out. I've ripped up my knee in high school and, basketball and football and, tore an ACL, and I just ripped up the cartilage so bad that, Pauline was telling me the other day, you got to get to the doctor and just get put on something or another. A lot of people. Well, Craig, to be honest with you, a lot of people have gotten those knee replacements, and they're not the best thing to do. I guess is what they're saying now. So I'm like, well, I just need, I guess maybe orthoscopic kind of fix the cartilage because what I did was, it was a basketball game, jumped to get the ball, and I came down. I was at a full run, jumped up to grab it, throw it over to somebody else, and came down. The top part of above my knee went to the right, and my bottom part of my knee went to the left. And I just ripped the ACL. I was down for, God, I don't know how long. I mean, 6-8 weeks after orthoscopic surgery and everything. That's when they first came out with it in the early 80s. They put essentially a staple to hold your ligament together. But, over the years and all the other stuff, crazy stuff I've done, I'm just starting to feel it now. So, like, if you could dig, an 8-inch plug, most people, like you or whatever, could squat down or drop to one knee and reach down and get the target out. It's an adventure for me because I have to almost get down on the ground on my knees and then stand back up. I just don't have I have the strength. My legs are like tree trunks, man. I got, Pauline always says, man, you look like a dang bodybuilder, because my muscles are really, really strong. It's just the joints are shot, and I'm popping Advil like candy, and of course, trying to get any kind of pain relief other than prescription stuff, because all the BS about the opioid problems and everything else in this country. So many people have abused stuff or getting hooked on stuff. It's hard to even get anything without going to some kind of pain management doctor. And, that's a fiasco too, the whole thing. Hey, I'm in pain, dude. Just give me something for the pain or anti-inflammatory or something, and all the side effects and all the, you can get addicted to them. So, you just, like you do, Craig, you take Aleve, I take Advil. I mean, I was taking so much Tylenol that I had to stop taking Tylenol because it was starting to affect my liver, So, I mean, it's like, do you think I hate pills?
I don't.
I hate pills.
What I hear, and I've heard it from a couple of metal detectorists or nurses actually,
mm-hmm.
and they say don't take Advil, take Aleve.
Yeah, I have a problem with Aleve though. That's the problem. I get a funny pain in my side every time I take. I take it every 12 hours. I was getting this weird numbing pain in my, numbness or something like that in my side. Starting to worry about my liver on that part of it too, but I don't think it affects your liver. Not that we're a medicine show. Disclaimer, by the way, guys. Follow your doctor's direct. Don't listen to me as far as pills, but it's just as you get older and stuff, man, you got all the injuries and stuff too from track and from tennis and,
I had
ripped up elbows. And
I had chronic tennis elbow where I couldn't
Yeah.
even pick up a empty coffee cup, and the guy gave me it was called naproxen. It was a brand new experimental drug that had come out. Like super, he told me it was super aspirin. He
Right.
said, "I'm going to give you this script," and he said, take 4 a day, and then within 2 days, I noticed, a big reduction in the pain. I was able to start, sleep through the night without, waking up every time I turned over.
hmm
It's like every little move with my elbow. If you've ever had tennis elbow or
I
some kind
have like that kind of pain.
yeah, tendonitis in general is bad, but
Yeah,
I've
I'd
had
rather
my
break a
shoulder.
bone.
I was, I pushed myself. I had all kinds of injuries over the years, and
Well,
I
it got to the
nowhere.
point where you just
Yeah,
wish that you
I
break a
learned how to-
bone rather than hurt a
Yeah.
ligament, because the ligaments and the muscles take so long to heal. I'd rather just break a bone and be down 6 weeks. I mean, and then you can, build back up. But when you hurt a ligament or it just takes forever to, like a shoulder injury, where a rotary cup or something. God, these guys are down for a year.
Yeah, I was having, I was getting older as far as, playing tennis. As you get in your 30s, you start, paying the price for, your body, especially with, I used to play 6 hours a day and stuff.
You're just
practice
killing your
but-
knees and stuff, ankles and elbows. And,
Well, I had no problem with my knees or my legs in general. It was my right foot from all the injuries I've had. I've had
Right.
three or four broken bones in that foot, but it got to be that I couldn't recover like I did when I was younger.
Right.
And it was funny. I switched it. All of a sudden I was starting to lose interest in playing because it just was pain. And this guy showed me this gold coin that he just found, and I didn't know anything about metal detecting. And within 3 months, I was like totally hooked on metal detecting.
Yeah.
And I just basically quit playing tennis. I still had the business and everything, but
Yeah.
people couldn't believe it. They were like, "Oh my God, how can you quit?" And I go, "Well, it's just not fun anymore."
Yeah, if you're not having fun, it's not worth doing. I've always said that on anything. You got
But the most fun I've ever had is metal detecting. And all the experiences and stuff I've had out of it. It's an adventure. It's exciting. I just love it. It just gets. It's a hobby that you can do into your old age. Basically, and
I think it goes along with saying with everything that, any kind of treasure hunting, bottle hunting, prospecting, even travel or whatever. These guys, go out there and go through old barns or houses and, find stuff. It's all kind of like treasure hunting, I guess. And it's the, the thrill of finding something, like a little treasure. I mean, it's an adventure. I never want to be just sitting in a recliner all day and not being able to do anything or whatever, just watching TV all day. I'd rather be outside and have a chance to find something pretty cool. And, it gives me a time to get out of my head and just, not have to worry about the world's problems. Just kind of go out there and listen for the beep, living for the beep.
yeah,
And
it's like
it's like a stress
taking a
reliever.
pill. It's like taking a pill and all the stress goes away.
Right.
That's kind of like what metal detecting's like. You just forget all your problems and stuff, and you just I don't know. It's
For that couple hours, you don't have to worry about it if the bills are paid or if the health wise on people and all the craziness.
I've had some people tell me it's therapy.
Yes.
And it's like it's I don't know. It's just you can't explain it to people that I've had people go, that's crazy, doing all that stupid stuff. Why do you do that? And I if you don't know, I can't really.
Yeah, if you don't get
to
it,
you,
I can't explain it to you. It's like. Yeah. Well, Craig see me, my worst with this, where we were at that CWPPO hunt and hunted all day long, and it's like, my God, I couldn't barely walk. I was going to get a six
Yeah.
pack of beer and go back to the hotel, and I get out of the car and it's like I almost hit the ground. My knees just would not. Mine's kind of like when I first get up out of a chair, it's like that 2 second rule or whatever. Stand there for a second and limp, and once I get going, I'm fine. I can just walk normally. But that first, 10 steps or something like that. Oh my God, it was real bad back then. It's not quite as bad now as it was, Craig. I take conglosamine, but it's not a bovine based conglosamine. It's actually a shellfish base. Puritan Pride has it. I've used them for years, and this stuff it really does help a lot with it. I took it over a two week period of time. I think it's one every morning and night, or I think I was taking two. I don't know. I amped it up a little bit, but after about 2 weeks, my knees really, I noticed a big difference in my right knee. It wasn't hurting so bad, but I've taken conglosamine before, but it's always been the bovine based, and it didn't really do a dang thing for me. But this shellfish based stuff really worked good, and I had been taking it for a couple of years now. Well, I don't know. I got stupid and said, "Well, my knee feels pretty good. I don't need to take this anymore." Well, that was 6 months ago, and I really started feeling it. So about a week or so ago, I started taking it again. But I've been out digging a lot more too, man. I mean, I dig, and it's kind of like when you're out in there in the heat and stuff. People get heat stroke and stuff. You don't realize because you're just so into the moment. You don't realize you're getting dehydrated, that you're getting wore out. Well, the same thing with my my knee most of the time. It's like I'm digging these holes, and well, you see my videos. I mean, every hole I dig is like 10 inches down, it seems like, and I'm digging 100 of them, and prying stuff up and walking back and forth, and it just catches up with you. I've reached my limit, and I'm not a quitter. You know what I mean, Craig? I'll push through, but then I pay for it for the next 2 days afterward. But
Well, you know what happens sometimes when you metal detect, you start finding stuff,
mm-hmm.
and you don't realize that you're dying.
Yeah.
You're in a frenzy digging stuff up, and then when you stop, you go, "Oh my God, I can hardly walk," or "I'm gotten beat."
I hunted one time.
Where I'm walking back to the car. It takes. I remember. I used to go out for 8-12 hours at a shot.
Right.
I'd go out early in the morning, and then I'd be coming, back to the car. It was in the dark almost, but sometimes I'd have to walk like 2 miles just to get back to the car.
Yep.
The worst one was when I found the cannonball.
Oh my God, yeah, 12 pounds turning to be 300 pounds.
Yeah, I had to walk like 2.5 miles just to get back to the car, and I was like, "No way, I'm leaving this in the woods. I'm taking it home."
Yeah. Well, footwear too. I mean, I see people out there. I know they're on vacation and stuff, and they're out there in like flip flops on the beach, and they're working sand scoops and stuff. Guys, wear some good footwear. Buy a good pair of boots. I mean, I tell you, and I don't care what they're. But if you can go to Walmart and buy a $25 pair of boots or whatever the heck they cost now, and they can last you a month or two before they start breaking down and ripping. I've literally bought boots from there and ripped a sole the first day I had the dang boot. Metal detecting, because you're dragging dirt and kicking stuff, and go out and spend the money, get yourself a good solid pair of boots. Like a Red Wing or Thorogood or something, and that way your feet are protected and you got good support. I get the composite toed ones. Don't buy a steel toed because you're just going to set your metal detector off. But the composite toed ones are real nice because we're always kicking stuff out of the way, or rocks or whatever else. But it's protecting your feet. And I bought the Thorogood boots 3 years ago. I still have the same pair. They're thick leather hasn't ripped. I haven't even broke a shoelace with the things because they have these real good shoelaces on them. And I can tell you what, Greg, I mean, it's happened. Well, look at Barb O'Connor. She's a dirt pirate detecting. She has a Predator shovel, and she was wearing tennis shoes, metal detecting. Went to, like we've all done, slam our shovels into the ground when we go to retrieve a target. Well, yeah, she slammed it in the ground all right by way of her foot and stabbed herself in the top of the foot with a predator tool. Well, we have shovels that are serrated and all this other crazy stuff because we have to, this ground is so tough. I mean, it's an aggressive shovels. They can be weapons almost. And she slammed that into her foot. I think she got like 4 stitches or something like that. With the boots I have, it wouldn't have happened. But, it's something we don't think about. Footwear is so important. Support on your ankles, especially if you're hiking into the woods or whatever else, in the fields, in the beaches. That you walk in sugar sand all day long. Tell me you don't hurt like crazy. Just the unevenness and everything. You got to wear something good on your feet. So
I got these SWAT team tactical boots that I guess they're about 8 inches high, and they're really nice. I've had them for probably 8 years, and they don't even hardly even the leather. I can like wash it off a little bit, and it looks good still.
Right.
But that sole is still fine. But the other ones I've got more lower cut. I mean, they go up to the ankle, but they're Merles. And,
right, that's what I wear too.
Merles are one of the best hiking boots on the market. I know all the guys in Stealth Diggers. They were walking up and down mountains, in New Hampshire. So, they were all saying that a lot of those guys, they're expensive too.
Well, I paid I think I paid $150 for my Thorogood boots. You can get them on. They have all different types. I mean, they have boots that go up to like $300 or $400 that the smoke jumpers wear and stuff like that. The guys that put the fires out in the middle of nowhere, they parachute in, or forestry boots or whatever, fire department types of boots. They're extreme which way. But the thing that I wish they would do with these boots, instead of making them so easy, soft sole that you can run in them, like you have, Craig, I wish they would put an arch support, something solid, like some kind of composite arch, because I've hurt my foot before slamming shovels into the ground when you hit a rock, and that thing hits you in the arch of the foot.
My Merles seem to have a composite arch in them.
Do they? That's good.
When I first put them on, I was thinking, God, that's a little bit hard. But then when you start walking, it's actually supports your foot. You don't feel the shock. Yep. And the tactical boots are pretty good. They're actually heavier though, but they're older boots, but they're flexible in the heel where they had it so the SWAT guys could actually run in them.
Right.
Most boots,
it's
you
hard
can't
to run.
in them.
Yeah.
You can't flex your ankle, but these you can.
Well, with our boot, what we do is, we're slamming these shovels into the ground. Sorry. You're slamming the shovels in the ground, then you're dragging dirt, pushing dirt back in the hole, then you're stomping the ground. I mean, the bottom of your feet take a lot of abuse, and, some people wear tennis shoes or like the ones that get me are the Jesus shoes I call, or Jesus sandals, open toe. You know what? Slam that shovel into the ground one time and have your foot slide off the edge of that foot plate on that thing and rake up the side of your ankle one good time. It'll teach you not to wear them things anymore. I mean, you can hurt yourself pretty, as aggressive as these shovels are, you can actually rip your skin. I mean, I've done it before when I was younger, and I never did wear, those cheap whatever kind of shoes when I was out detecting anymore.
Get some of those. What are those things called? Crocs.
Oh yeah. I guess being down here in Florida, I see a lot of the ladies and stuff wear the little flip flop things and everything. Yeah, you step on a tile floor that has a little bit of wet on it, a little bit of water on it, and you slide your ass across that and bust your butt one good time. You won't wear flip flops anymore, or catch the toe of those things. It's just being smarter. You're out there. It's and they're a pain on the beach. I wear boots on the beach when I metal detect too, Greg. I that sand, that unevenness. You twist an ankle one good time, heck, it'll teach you. A lot of the younger guys and gals, they're in their 20s or whatever. you're going to live forever until you hit 40, and everything from 40 on is all downhill from there. So you're going to feel all the little stupidity that you did, believe me. I worked rodeo companies and everything else and ranches and stuff like that in my early 20s, and and I drove truck forever, hauled cattle and everything else, and all the stuff, all the work that goes along with that. I beat the crap out of myself, but I was going to live forever, Craig, and I feel every bit of it now.
Yeah, when you're young, you feel invincible, and it doesn't take long before you start feeling.
Well, I'm as good once as I ever was now, but I feel it for the next 2 weeks after. So, oh shoot! But no, I guess we kind of run a half an hour already today, Craig. I kind of have to get off here. I have to take care of some stuff. Obviously, not going to go metal detecting today. It's still raining out here. I'm down here in Florida, but if you can get out there and do some detecting, do it. I think most of the country is pretty well screwed today with all the snow and the wind and the rain and everything else coming through. So, I think we're on hold a little bit. I'm going to try to get out tomorrow, Craig. I mean, I should be able to. It's supposed to be nice and cool out anyways. Got to try to do some more digging, get some more footage. I just really haven't had time to put the videos up still. I got a bunch of footage. I was telling Craig I had to get this new operating systems and stuff they got going on. I got having to redo stuff to get them to work right and stuff. I'm sure that everybody else is having the same kind of problems too in some aspect running.
Yeah, we both had the same MacBook Pro, and I finally got the new thing to install the other day.
Yep.
And I couldn't figure it out. I kept going, why doesn't it install? And it kept saying, and finally I found out that I had to close all these stupid apps that were still, open.
Right in the background, yeah.
And then it, downloaded all the stuff and installed, but
well, I want to tell somebody, people out there too, if you don't already have an external hard drive for your computers, they're not that expensive at Best Buy or whatever. I think I got a 4 terabyte. It's a Passport, I think it is. Back up whatever you got on your laptops or computer. You can buy one of those. It'll hold just a bunch of information. But with all the stuff that's happening now and taking over computers and everything else, back up your photos, your videos, stuff that's important, your family portraits, whatever. You can't replace that kind of stuff. Get one of them. I mean, I've seen external hard drives that are like $50. You could save all your family, because we put a lot of stuff on our computers. We don't, you don't think about it until you lose it one time. And I've backed up everything. I back up once a month, and that way I can get all the, all the at least have a safe place to put music and everything else. Because, it's like when I run DJ equipment and stuff like that, Craig. I have like 220,000 songs on one of my computers, and I'm like, man, I got to back this up. I'll lose all that and all those years of, and all the money you spent on it. I just back it up in case something happens to that stupid computer, and you have to restart it all and you lose everything. So just want to say, get an external hard drive for Christmas. But I think, it looks like, I don't know, Craig, do I still have you?
Yeah, I just came back.
Yeah, I just said lost signal or something like that. That's the first time that's ever happened. That's what it said on the screen there. But yeah, we'll wrap it up for today, Craig. Obviously, the computer's going to have an issue, or Skype's having an issue, so we'll get off of here. You guys try to have a great day. Stay warm if you can, or stay cool if you need to. I don't know where you're at in the world, so I'll shoot. But have a great day. Like and follow the show, and be sure to check out the other shows on Spreaker. Have a great day. Bye-bye.